Hello and welcome. This is India Global. I'm Gaurie Dwivedi. Let's get you the headlines this Monday evening. First up, India-China start the process of disengagement. This comes days after the announcement between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping bilateral that took place. It brings an end to the 4-year-long military standoff. India and Spain launched Tata Aircraft plant in Gujarat. This is the first private military aircraft plant that is being done in India, aims to boost defense ties between India and Spain. Big blow to Prime Minister Ishiba. Ruling LDP in Japan loses majority. First time in 15 years, minority of LDF faces crisis. Latest update in the Iran-Israel crisis and the conflict. Iran vows decisive, effective response to Israel's attack. Iran says that it will use all available means to respond firmly to Israel's attack over the weekend. NATO confirms new phase in Ukraine war. Russia deploys North Korean troops in Ukraine. All right, on to our first story that we are discussing today, which is the India-China disengagement. Remember, at Depsang and Demchok, the two places where disengagement is taking place. What does this mean going forward? And more importantly, does this now mean that the thaw in the India-China relations will have an impact as far as trade ties are concerned? Also, what about some of the other friction points? This is pertaining only to the 2020 Galwan conflict and dispute that took place between India and China. But what about some of the other thorny issues in that border? Remember, this also brings to an end the 4-year-long standoff between India and China, and satellite images do indicate, and they show very clearly that some of those Chinese structures have been removed. Patrolling rights are being reinstated, areas that India was not able to patrol because of the presence of those Chinese structures. Let's get in our experts this evening to talk about what does this mean in terms of the next phase of India-China relations. What does it mean for the bilateral relationship, both from a security as well as a trade point of view, even as External Affairs Dr. Jaishankar said, External Affairs Minister, that it will take some time to build trust. Remember, this is just a journey that has started between India and China. It remains to be seen how long before that trust is rebuilt between the two countries. All right, let's get in General Dua, who's joining me on the broadcast, and also Professor Godbole this evening. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for speaking to me on India Global. General Dua, let me start with you, sir. A lot of progress has been made in terms of the conflict, but it still seems that these are first steps in what could be a protracted process over the larger issue in that region, isn't it?
That's right, Gauri. It's a heartening step because there were these two sticky points over the last 4 years. We have been able to resolve a few other sticky points like the northern southern bank of Pegongso, the issue of Gogra, hot springs. So other PP-16 were resolved uh, to the extent that the troops were not facing in an eyeball to eyeball sort of confrontation. These 2 points, which is the Depsang and Demchok, it remained. Essentially what was happening over here is more than anything else, the patrolling was being denied which was earlier allowed. So now, over the few talks that have taken place in the recent past, as we all know, that today they are to complete. I mean, by 29th is the deadline. Tomorrow is the deadline. They are to complete the process of disengagement. Now, what that means essentially is, I'll take a minute to explain, is that all the structures, whether there were some tents, there were some tarpaulin cover structures. So there were temporary structures that had been erected. So those have been removed by both sides over the last 4 or 5 days. The groundwork had been laid, but the a real impetus was given to this by after the both the leaders met on the sidelines of the summit, and having then hastened up the process. Now the first step of
Okay,
disengagement will be complete by tomorrow.
right.
What remains to be seen after that, whereafter we will get
Yes.
into, de-escalation and
We'll come to
de-induction.
that
So
in a
that is
bit.
something
General
that
Dua, we'll come to that in a bit. This is, as I said, it's a heartening step. I take your point, but also a longer process. And Dr. Jaishankar also mentioned that when he said that, there are three clear phases. One is, of course, disengagement, then there is de-escalation, and then there's building trust. Professor Godbole, how do you respond to some of these changes that have taken place? Very important first steps, but connect the dots for us in terms of the larger bilateral relationship in the backdrop of the fact that military standoffs, when they sort of ease out, the trust factor takes time to build, doesn't it?
Trust factor will take a lot of time, but we can already see some of the delegation exchanges have started. Some of the youth delegations have started going to China. A bit of think tank delegations exchange have also begun, I think, since August. So I believe that will continue. India-China dialogue processes at different levels between academia and think tanks, at civil society, that will take a bit of time. Also, bilateral flights, there are no bilateral flights for the last 4 years. That will take a bit of time. I believe by January it should start. But also, I agree that trust building between the services and forces, and how do we build and re-establish the trust in the processes like the BDCA, which we had established for the management of border and the border patrolling. We have to see how effectively those kind of processes get established, and how do we get back to trusting the old norms that we had created over a period of 20 years, beginning from 1993 onwards. So it's going to be a slow process, as we all know.
General Dua, then this brings me to another very important aspect, which is that what about some of the other thorny issues that while progress is being made in these specific sectors, in these specific areas, what about some of the other areas where India-China continue to have a difference of opinion, and do you see that having an impact on the bilateral relationship?
you see, essentially, the whole 3,500 odd approximately 3,500 odd kilometers of LAC, along the LAC, we do have certain areas of disagreement. But what we're not now focusing on is that uh, over the last 4 years in Eastern Ladakh, where things had gone bad. Uh, Once we start resolving these issues, it sets the groundwork for a smooth process in other places as well. Because here lies the rub. We cannot undo this in a great hurry. Please recall that the Nathula incident, which took place in mid 70s, took 24 years to actually resolve. So it's a long process. We must be patient. And I will repeat my sentence. It's a very positive step, and I'm sure better days lie ahead. Let's hope for
Indeed.
that.
Indeed. Professor Godbole, then what according to you should be the next milestones that we should aim for? We've got this disengagement. Expectation is that maybe de-escalation will happen in the next couple of weeks. But what would you want the next milestones to watch out for as normalcy is beginning to come?
I believe paramilitary is taking the front in the patrolling, as it used to happen in the peace times, will be an important landmark. And then we'll have to see how
No, I'm talking about the
easily we are
bilateral
able to handle.
relationship, not just the military aspect. I'm saying the bilateral relationship, what would be the next milestones?
So yes, I believe once bitten, twice shy will be will be the way forward. But in overall bilateral relations, in how the re-establishment of the telecommunication networks, the re-establishment of dialogues and regular contacts in peacetime contacts that we used to have. So that will be established on the basis of these patrolling as that resumes in about 3 to 4 days. But in my view, the biggest bilateral ties achievement will be bilateral flights, and then rediscussion of investment relations. That will be the pinnacle at this point of time. But I don't
Indeed.
expect that to happen about 2 to 3 months before.
Let's now shift focus to the other key story that we are taking up on India Global. India-Spain boosting defense ties with the Tata plant. We come back and talk more on that after this very short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching India Global. The other key story that we are discussing right now is the Spanish President Pedro Sanchez, who is on a visit to India. In fact, this is the first India visit by a Spanish president in 18 years. It also marks a new phase in the relations between New Delhi and Madrid. Prime Minister Modi and President Sanchez inaugurated the new Tata Aircraft Complex for C-295 aircraft manufacturing in Gujarat's Vadodara today. It is India's first private sector final assembly line for military aircraft, specifically the C-295. And what you do need to know about this is how important this entire deal is and how it is a shot in the arm for Indian Air Force. Now, firstly, to put this in perspective, the Airbus C-295, also called CASA C-295, is a medium tactical transport aircraft designed for multiple roles, including cargo and personnel transport, then parachute operations, as well as electronic signals intelligence, medical evacuation, maritime patrol, the whole works. The C-295 is due to replace the Indian Air Force's aging Avro 748 fleet, offering a modern transport solution with a load capacity of 5 to 10 tons. It is capable of carrying up to 71 troops at a maximum cruise speed of 260 knots. In fact, in case of emergencies, the aircraft can be fitted with 25 stretchers, 7 medical assistants. The aircraft is capable of staying airborne for about 11 hours, and it makes it versatile for tactical missions, both day and night operations. In fact, key features include its short takeoff and landing capability to assist personnel in conflict areas. The C-295 also features an indigenous electronic warfare suite supplied by Indian defense public sector undertakings, whether it's the Bharat Electrics and Bharat Dynamics Limited. Developed as a variant of the CASA IPTNCN 235 in the 1990s, the C-295 had its maiden flight in November 1997. And let's also now take a look at what this deal is all about. Then we, of course, get into how this and why it is so significant. Now, Vadodara's Tata Aerospace facility results from a collaboration between Tata Advanced Systems and Airbus. Spain, India's Defence Ministry has signed a 21,900 crore rupee contract with Airbus Defence and Space to purchase 56 of these C-295 transport aircraft in September 2021. According to the deal, Airbus will deliver the first 16 aircraft from Spain, while the remaining 40 will be manufactured at the new Tata facility in Vadodara. While 6 aircrafts have already been delivered by Airbus, the 7th is scheduled for later this year. Now, with all deliveries expected by 2031, IF will become the world's largest C-295 operator. The foundation for this Vadodara complex was laid by Prime Minister Modi in October 22, and it underscores the government's commitment to developing domestic aerospace capabilities. After it's fully functional, the IF will be better equipped to meet its diverse operational requirements as well. Now, what does this mean in terms of India's aspirations to become a major manufacturing player in defense? Let's get in Group Captain, former Group Captain Shripat Tokekar. Joining me on the broadcast is also Dr. Zakir Hussain, former research fellow at ICWA. All right, Captain, let me start with you, sir, which is that the significance of this deal and its aligning with India's aspirations in terms of having larger domestic defense capabilities?
Hi, Gauri. Thank you. See, it is like this that the deal, as you covered, is about 22,000 crores. These are 56 aeroplanes for the Indian Air Force. Figures covered already by you. Additionally, there are about 15 aeroplanes which are going to be for the Navy and the Coast Guard in the maritime patrol configuration. So, of these, the total contract goes on to 29,000 crores. So, that is a significant amount. Airbus Defense is looking at pumping about $1 billion annually into the Indian aircraft manufacturing industry. See, we have had a strong aircraft manufacturing industry, but for want of investments from foreign vendors, the industry has not taken off. This is the first time that a private player has been involved in Tata Advanced Systems Limited has set up its plant in Vadodara, which will start manufacturing and rolling out the first of the 40 aircraft, as you had covered, by September 26 and ending by August 31, which is what the contract period is. Additionally, there are two more facilities which the Airbus has already set up. One is the software development for helicopter program and their commercial sales at Bangalore. And the second one is a major component manufacturing facility at Hyderabad, which is already operational. So we are looking at giving direct jobs in this.
Okay, all right, Captain. I think there's a bit of an audio issue. I'll try and fix that. I'll try and fix that issue, sir, and I request my producer to address that. But let me just quickly get in, Dr. Hussain, also on the significance of this deal and what kind of a bump up it gives in terms of the India-Spain bilateral relationship.
Me?
Go ahead.
It's not coming. It's asking me.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. For the first time, India got entered. What I say that a gateway to European military value chain, global European value chain. It is giving India access to European market, and it can produce the cheap product as well as it is strengthening our aviation sector. So this deal is a very important thing for us.
Okay. Okay, there's a bit of an audio issue there. Dr. Hussain, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Finish the point.
There is some problem. There is some. I think that this is a major jump in our defense sector, because we are involving the private sector to produce and manufacture as well as export, and from this we are going to establish our landmark in aerospace, which was one of the points of our defense Make in India program. And I think that this is going to replace our aging Avera 749 also.
Okay. All right, stay with us. Okay. I want to quickly also tell our viewers the significance of this deal, its importance, and then we come back and try and get in the other guest as well, which is that this is the deal that has been signed, keeping in mind India's aspirations to become a large defense manufacturer, both to address its own requirements and also to become a global defense exporter. The two defense corridors that India is coming up with, one in Uttar Pradesh and the second in Tamil Nadu, also ties in with that. And the significance of this facility is that it's a private facility. Okay, Captain, I believe you can hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, okay. Then let me ask you this, that we are talking about the significance of this deal, but help us understand that with a deal like this, where does India go in terms of fulfilling its manufacturing dreams for defense, and also does this become a template for India to sign up several such deals with other countries going forward?
Yes, it is a significant step. You see, after one, the indigenously assembled manufactured aircraft is handed to the is clearance for the Indian manufactured aeroplanes to other civil users within the country, and to select countries which the government of India would project manufacturing. Actually, also gave.
All right, I believe there's a bit of a signal issue there. I am afraid we'll have to connect with our experts another time to address what I believe could actually be a very big issue as far as India's defense capabilities are concerned. With that, it's a wrap. Thanks so much for watching this edition of India Global.